Thanks, Cian Corla. First of all, I want to welcome the opportunity to speak on this motion, and also just to pay tribute to the chair of the committee as well. In fairness, it's always difficult to chair any committee anyway, but this topic and all the various witnesses in and out, so I think it's important to put that on the record. And it's actually really good to be in here for a debate where it's actually positive and people are welcoming something, and we seem to have, in general, I think most people are of the same view. What is clear is that it's currently the model we have is not working effectively, and I will say there are some schools and some teachers that do an excellent job in this area, but it's very ad hoc. And I would say, like, even my own experience, and I describe myself still as a young person. I don't know how long I'll get away with that, but I mean, my experience was very, here's a video, watch this, and don't ask any questions. And I see with my own kids the totally different approach, and it's really good and really positive, and it's not sort of a taboo subject like I think that we were all made to believe it is. I think most of us here are the view that report is to be welcomed, particularly give the significant input by the stakeholders, from parents' organisations to teachers' unions to youth organisations, advocacy agencies. There were so many views and voices heard, which is very good and very positive. I just want to highlight a few points that were raised in the report. So currently it's a requirement of post-primary schools to teach all aspects of the RSE programme, including family planning, sexually transmitted infections and sexual orientation, and the committee acknowledged the need for all elements of this curriculum to be delivered, and this is welcome. I think it's section or point 4, recommendation 4, where the committee recommends that RSE and SPHE be taught at primary level in an age and developmentally appropriate manner, with due regard for the integrated nature of RSE in the methodologies chosen. Consideration must also be given at post-primary to the methodologies chosen that will be most supportive and inclusive for students. I think this is really important because I do think it's relevant and very important that it starts at primary school, and there is the potential for some negativity, I think, around that point, and some people might say they feel that their children are too young, but given that the world we live in and the reality, and I think children have a right to be educated and to know, even in some cases parents might disagree with that, but I think it's important that children are, I suppose, educated in a safe and proper manner, and with the actual facts, and not, what some people might view on the subject. The committee was advised that primary schools are also required to fully implement the Stay Safe programme as part of the SPHE curriculum, which addresses physical, emotional and sexual abuse. And we support the committee's view that the Stay Safe programme is a useful tool to safeguard the well-being of children, and are also concerned that this is not taught in all primary schools, as only 30 minutes per week is allocated to the teaching of SPHE in primary schools. And we agree that in order to improve the protection and safety of children, that this needs to be addressed by the department, as it does not adequately equip students for the significant changes that have taken place in Ireland in recent times, and many people have alluded to that. But I do think if we had just a bit more consistency and a bit more of a universal approach rather than what's currently there, which is more of an ad hoc approach, that you would see an improvement on this. And in fairness, teachers are overstretched and they're trying to get lots into the day, so I think it's important that we ensure that the space is given to this and that it's not sort of seen as an early kind of nuisance. We have to kind of get to that subject. It should be kind of given the priority it deserves. Children are now more susceptible to being exposed to pornography and sexual violence at an incredibly young age due to access to the internet, either by themselves or through their peers. And unfortunately, this is a fact, and we all know of terrible incidents of sexual violence, intimidation, extortion and aggression are on the rise exponentially among younger people, and we know this through evidence and research conducted by children's NGOs and various organisations. And we obviously cannot ignore this. If the issue of consent isn't tackled effectively in schools, then we can only expect this to worsen. Therefore, we support the essence of this report, which proposes improving the curriculum to address the issues around consent and respect, as well as other behaviours. So I just think that's an important point as well around consent, and we've heard so much about that in the news over the last few years, and it really is important. And if you get that at a young age and just get people thinking in a different way, that's sort of half the battle, really. And finally, the Education Act 1998 shouldn't be used as a barrier to the effective teaching of the RSE and SPHE curriculum. We believe that with appropriate input from parents, young people, students and teachers, that common ground can be found in amending the current curriculum so that it better reflects Irish society today. Thanks.